Welcome to 1031 University. I'm Paul Holloway. Today's topic is it possible to do improvements on a replacement property that you have purchased? So for example, if you buy a property of lesser value than what you sold for, can you use exchange dollars to improve that replacement property? Well, it really depends, but let's go over a couple situations where it does work and then where it may not work. So what we're going to do is just assume that you sell a property for $1 million. That is the start of the 1031 exchange. That is the relinquished property. So those proceeds come to your qualified intermediary. Now you've identified a replacement property, and let's assume that replacement property is valued at $600,000. So where it depends is if you actually take title to that replacement property at $600,000, that is your like-kind property. You cannot use additional exchange dollars to improve a property that you already own. But with a parking arrangement, much like a reverse 1031 exchange, if you have this replacement property parked with the qualified intermediary, and that intermediary holds it under a special purpose LLC, and they hold it as an EAT, which stands for Exchange Accommodating Title Holder, you can actually, within the allotted 180-day window, you can actually work a draw request arrangement with your intermediary to have additional exchange dollars go towards capital improvements done to the property. Typically, the improvements have to be real property improvements, and they do have to be completed within 180 days. They do have to actually be in service. You can't just put materials in the garage and wait for the work to be done. You have to actually have the work done within the 180 days to make it qualify. So let's kind of move forward with this example. So subtle difference being, instead of you buying the replacement property at $600,000, again, Accruit or your qualified intermediary steps in, forms a special purpose LLC. We step into your shoes and buy that property at $600,000, and then again we work with you in doing multiple draw requests until any and all of the work is completed, with the goal to get up to that $1 million threshold by day 180 of the exchange. So assuming you are able to complete upwards of $400,000 of capital improvements to the property. Now the property is valued at the $1 million threshold, which matches what you sold for on the front end of your exchange. So then you would have a fully deferred exchange. The final step would be, at this point where the improvements are complete and in service, we, the intermediary that are currently holding title to this property under that special purpose LLC, more times than not, we can just simply assign a 100% membership interest in that LLC over to the taxpayer, in effect completing their exchange, and they are buying the replacement property at the improved value instead of the lesser than full price value. So this is a real quick summary of how to do this type of exchange. Now there's obviously certain costs that qualify under the improvement process, other types of costs that do not. Without going into great detail on it today, if you would like further details on what costs typically are acceptable and which ones are not, obviously run it by your CPA or tax attorney to make sure they're in agreement. But you can also visit accruit.com. We have educational pieces there, and or you could reach out to Accruit by email, and we'll be glad to send you a piece on the topic as well. So this has been Paul Holloway with 1031 University at Accruit. If you like this piece, feel free to visit our YouTube site. Feel free to actually join the site and subscribe to it. And we look forward to helping you with further pieces in the future. Thank you.